this. We not doing this, Jeudy. Hey, Jeudy, we not gonna do this, dog. Hey, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. We ain't doing this. What you mad about, an overthrow? That's damn sure when the overthrow you want to run it. Run faster, dog. Not respecting it, dog. I'm not respecting it. Even if it was an overthrow, dog, you don't talk to your quarterback like that, dog. Y'all get on the same page, dog. But look at this, man. I'm not going for this, dog. That ball look catchable. Run a little faster or die for it. Put your body on the line. I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it, dog. Look at this, man. Clearly looks like an overthrow. Yes. Okay, the wind was out there blowing, dog. Obviously, the ball gonna be just a little overthrown, dog. I don't know if you want to mess up with stats or what, but I know this you. I know this you, Jeudy, the same person that make mistakes as well. So what are you getting mad over an overthrow?
Jimmy Haslam just saw something that made him very angry. And sources inside the Cleveland Browns say that the billionaire owner is done playing games now that Jerry Jeudy was caught on national TV yelling at Shedeur Sanders on the sidelines during the team's terrible loss to the San Francisco 49ers, clapping aggressively in the rookie quarterback's face, standing over him like a dictator, and telling him over and over, "That's wrong. That's not right." People who know Haslam well say that he is now asking some extremely direct questions. Why is a $52 million receiver fighting a rookie quarterback instead of catching passes? Why is the veteran making things worse instead than helping? What transpired behind closed doors following this game is going to shock you to your core. I want to tell you something that is going on in Cleveland right now that the news isn't covering.
I mean, I don't want to be a dick, but the Browns O-line ain't that much better than the one he had at Colorado. You know, what people got to understand is the Browns suck. They always suck. I mean, they got the best defense in the NFL, and they still suck. But as it stands right now, this is the Browns offense. 100 carries from Juckins and the occasional deep ball that sometimes ends up going well for them. Now, before I let y'all go, watch this. Shedeur tries to connect with Jeudy right here. They're just obviously not on the same page. Look what he does. Look at his head. I don't like Jerry Jeudy. I don't.
Jimmy Haslam didn't spend months defending the contentious choice to choose Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, fighting off constant criticism from the media and charges from people like Eric Mangini that he made general manager Andrew Berry pick him, seeing talking heads say that head coach Kevin Stefanski didn't even want the kid. Just watching Jerry Jeudy slowly break this young quarterback's confidence on the bench in front of 70,000 fans at Huntington Bank Field. Haslam didn't sign up for that when he agreed to give Jeudy a huge contract extension. And sources say he's really angry about what happened. This is a lot more than just a heated moment on the sidelines between two angry teammates. Let me paint the whole picture for you. The Browns are down the 49ers in the 4th quarter in Shedeur Sanders' 2nd NFL start. The rookie quarterback is sitting on the bench with the offensive lineman, looking at plays on the Microsoft Surface tablet. This is exactly what professional quarterbacks do when they want to learn, get better, and find out how to beat a strong defense. Jerry Jeudy walks up with an attitude that radiates from him, claps his hands angrily in Shedeur's face, leans over the seated quarterback in a way that can only be characterized as threatening, and basically goes off on him. The whole fight was caught by CBS cameras, and the video quickly went viral. You can see Jeudy standing over Shedeur and yelling at him, clearly angry and upset. When Shedeur tries to protect himself, it's because that's what competitors do. That's what any athlete with self-respect would do when someone insulted them.
It's going to take time to be able to develop that chemistry with everybody, to be on the same page with Jerry, you know. Of course, you want to be able to get on the ball, but you got to understand it take time. I'm more of a trust person, you know, and that's just what it boiled down to. So we have to spend time on task and with all those guys.
Jeudy won't give up. He continues saying, "That's wrong, that's wrong." He acts like he's the one in charge of the plays, like he's the offensive coordinator, and like he has any right to talk down to the guy throwing him the ball. The disrespect was so obvious and over the top that veteran offensive lineman Ethan Posich had to jump in and physically separate them. Take a moment to think about that. Because a $52 million receiver couldn't control his emotions and act like a professional, a huge offensive lineman had to step in and be the peacemaker. Now, this is when the numbers get very bad and show how hypocritical Jerry Jeudy's rant on the sidelines was. Jerry Jeudy has caught exactly 4 passes on 7 targets in the 2 games that Shedeur Sanders has started. That's a 57% catch rate, which isn't great for a number 1 receiver. But hold on, it gets worse. In only 2 games with Shedeur as the quarterback, he has dropped 2 passes, 2 drops. And let's not forget about the crazy fumble last week when he caught the ball and got stripped from behind without even knowing it, which cost the Browns critical field position. But this is the thing that should make every Browns fan really mad. Jeudy caught 28 passes and dropped 8 in 10 games with Deshaun Watson and Joe Flacco as quarterbacks. That's only 2.8 catches per game, which is really bad for your most expensive receiver, who should be your go-to target on 3rd downs and in the red zone. But here's the million-dollar question that has Jimmy Haslam and everyone else stumped. We don't have any video showing Jerry Jeudy and Deshaun Watson fighting on the sideline like this. We don't have video of him clapping in Joe Flacco's face while they were throwing interceptions and making blunders. We don't have video of him publicly insulting those older quarterbacks when they were having trouble and the offense wasn't working. So why is he treating Shedeur Sanders this way? Why is he going after the new guy? Why is he going after the 5th-round pick that Jimmy Haslam has publicly supported several times? The response shows you everything you need to know about Jerry Jeudy's character, and it's not a good one. I wanted to tell you some important background information about Jerry Jeudy that Browns fans need to know, because this isn't the first time he's acted this way. This guy has a history of not being able to take criticism, allowing his ego get in the way of his work, and attacking individuals instead of looking in the mirror. Do you remember when Hall of Fame wide receiver Steve Smith called him out a few years ago? That famous conversation reveals everything about Jeudy's personality and why he's treating Shedeur this way. Steve Smith was doing his podcast Cut to It a few years ago. He was talking about wide receivers in the NFL who may not have lived up to expectations based on where they were drafted and how good they were thought to be. Smith called Jerry Jeudy a jag, which means just a guy. The Denver Broncos picked him in the 1st round, but he wasn't playing at the level of a 1st-round pick. He was just an average wide receiver. He wasn't making the big plays. He wasn't becoming the best receiver his team needed. Wasn't meeting the high standards that come with being a top selection pick. So when Steve Smith finally met Jerry Jeudy in person at an NFL event, he did what a genuine man would do. He tried to say sorry in person, like a professional, like someone with class. Smith walked over to Jeudy and said something like, "Hey, I know I said some things on my podcast in the past that I shouldn't have, and I'm sorry for that. I was mean, and I could have gone too far." That's just class. That person is in the Hall of Fame. Someone who gained the respect of everyone in the league by his amazing career, and who was mature and secure enough to face his critics and try to make things right. What did Jerry Jeudy say? He yelled at Steve Smith. He said, "Don't mess with me." And they said it again, this time with curse words. He straightly degraded a Hall of Famer who was trying to be nice and show him respect. Steve Smith, a true legend who never backed down from anyone during his playing career, didn't let it go. On his podcast, he went right back at Jeudy and said, "I'm sorry I called you a jag." They invested a 1st-round pick on this kid, who is basically an average wide receiver and isn't accomplishing anything. I hope you show up today in a manner that you haven't in the last couple of years since they drafted you. Then Smith went even further, giving one of the worst reviews you'll ever hear. "When teams call me and ask if they should trade for you," he remarked, "should they put money into Jerry Jeudy? No, I will not. Don't trade for Jerry Jeudy because he can't handle constructive criticism from those who watch football and analyze the game for a living." Smith said he was a Tier 3 receiver, not as good as Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson, not even as good as the solid number 2 receivers in the league. Tier 3 is virtually interchangeable. And you know what? Steve Smith was completely correct. It's been years since then, and Jerry Jeudy is still displaying that he can't handle problems. He still shows that when things aren't going well, he doesn't want to look in the mirror and take responsibility. He wants to blame everyone else around him. Now let's speak about what really happened in the 49ers game. The context is very important and shows who is really to blame. Shedeur Sanders fired a deep ball downfield to Jerry Jeudy in the 1st quarter. It could have been a touchdown or at least a big play that changed the course of the game. The toss was deep. Jeudy was ahead of his defender. He was ready to make a play, but the pass went just a little too far and felt like it wasn't complete. A number of people who have seen the movie several times are now arguing that if Jeudy had just kept running at full speed and attacked the football, it would have landed right in his hands and stride for a large gain. Instead, Jeudy took his time on the way. He slowed down instead of speeding up during his break, and the ball fell just out of his reach. You can plainly see Jeudy on the sidelines shaking his head, throwing his hands up in irritation, and showing with his body language that he thought it was Shedeur's fault after the incompletion. But Jerry Jeudy either doesn't get it or won't admit it. The wind was strong enough to change the path of the football in that game. Shedeur himself said in a press conference after the game that the wind definitely affected some of his throws. He remarked, and I'm quoting him precisely, "All quarterbacks know you have to cut through the wind when you throw. I was just wrong. It was merely a miss. It was just a shot that missed, and after I missed that shot, I had to keep shooting to stay on myself. That is what it is to be responsible." That's a first-year quarterback who just played his second NFL game and is accepting full responsibility for a throw that didn't connect. He's not giving excuses. He's not fully blaming the win. He's not blaming his receiver for not being fast enough. He says, "I missed, and I need to do better." That's what makes a leader. That's how a franchise quarterback thinks. That's exactly what Jimmy Haslam wants to see from the guy he has put money into. But what about Jerry Jeudy's responsibility? Where is his admission that he might have run his route better? That he might have been able to change his mind about the ball in flight? Maybe as a veteran receiver getting $52 million, he should be able to make those tough catches that can turn a game. Jeudy was angry, sulking, and then blowing up the whole game instead of taking responsibility for his part in the disconnect. He caught 3 passes for 26 yards. That's all. That's all he did in a game where his team really needed playmakers to step up against one of the greatest defenses in the NFL. At the start of the fourth quarter, when the Browns are behind and need offense badly, they need veteran leadership and everyone to work together. That's when Jeudy decides to walk up to Shedeur and create a public fight. Jeudy was unhappy about a 3-and-out possession that only got 1 yard. Shedeur failed to connect with Jeudy on a mid-range route over the center, which was the end of the game. Instead of letting the coaches handle it, Jeudy made it public instead of waiting until they got to the bench and bringing Shedeur away to talk about the play and figure out where the communication went wrong. He turned it into a show. He made his quarterback seem bad on national TV in front of millions of people. This is where Jimmy Haslam comes into the tale in a big manner, and sources say he's very angry about what happened. Since draft day, the Browns owner has been quite open about supporting Shedeur Sanders, even when it wasn't popular and people were questioning the decision. When Eric Mangini and other reporters said that Haslam made Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski pick Shedeur, they said that the GM and coach didn't really want him, but were overridden by ownership. Haslam went public to put an end to that story right away. He remarked, and this is crucial, that we have a good procedure here. That's Andrew Berry's decision at the end of the day. Andrew chose Shedeur. Haslam was defending the organizational process and his general manager, but he was also defending Shedeur by making it clear that everyone in the organization believed in him and that this wasn't just a decision made by a rogue owner. Everyone was on board with bringing this young quarterback to Cleveland. Then, in October, when Diana from The Athletic asked Haslam about the commotion and criticism surrounding Shedeur Sanders and why he wasn't playing earlier in the season, Haslam answered something quite interesting. "Listen," he added, "he's a serious football player, and inside the building, there's no noise. He goes to work every day like everyone else and is working on becoming a great football player. That's all that counts to us." That's an owner defending his quarterback. That's an owner stating, "I don't care what the press says. I don't care what people on social media are saying. I don't care about what other people say. This youngster is doing everything right in our building. That's how we judge him." So, picture how Jimmy Haslam feels as he watches Jerry Jeudy, a guy the Browns are paying $52.5 million over 3 years, with $41 million completely guaranteed, publicly trash the same quarterback on the sideline. The same quarterback who Haslam has publicly defended many times. The same quarterback that the team spent a draft pick on. the same quarterback they think can end decades of failure at the most vital position in sports. Sources who know what happened indicate that after the game, Haslam had angry talks with both Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski about what happened. He wanted to know why Jeudy felt safe going after Shedeur like that. He wanted to know what the coaches were going to do about it. He wanted to know what steps will be taken to hold people responsible. Most importantly, he wanted to make it very obvious that this kind of behavior, this toxic, selfish, me-first mentality, is not okay in his company. Not when they're trying to build a culture of winning. Not when they want to help a young quarterback grow. Not when they need everyone to work together instead of fighting. This is the truth that Browns fans need to know. Jeudy is intended to be the head of that receiving group. He is the old guy. He is the one who has played in important games. When he's at his best, he's a Pro Bowl level performer. He makes the greatest money of all the receivers. But instead of helping Shedeur grow and acquire confidence, like a professional veteran should do for a new quarterback, he's tearing him down. He's splitting people up. He's putting himself first instead of the team. And don't forget that Jeudy has been terrible all season long. The data don't deceive, and they show a very bad image. He has only caught 35 catches for 421 yards and 1 touchdown in 11 games. Those figures are totally unacceptable for a receiver of his skill level, for someone who makes that much money, and for someone who is meant to be the #1 choice. But this is the stat that should make every Browns supporter really mad. He has dropped the most passes in the National Football League with 9. 9 drops. That's not just awful. That's not just a hard spot. That makes him look bad for someone with his level of talent and background. The Browns merely gave up a 5th and 6th round selection to get Jeudy from the Denver Broncos. That seemed like a crime on paper. A great deal for a young, skilled player who was once a first-round choice. Then they awarded him that huge 3-year, $52.5 million extension, with $41 million of it completely guaranteed. And what have they gotten back for that money? He leads the league in the one stat that no receiver wants to be the best at: drops, fumbles, attitude problems, and public fights with the quarterback. That's not a decent return on your money. And Jimmy Haslam is aware of it. Now, let's speak about what Shedeur Sanders stated after the game. This is what sets him apart from Jeudy and shows who has the necessary attitude to accomplish well in this league. Shedeur could have easily thrown Jeudy under the bus during his post-game press conference. He had every right to be upset and defensive after being disrespected on the sideline and attacked by his own receiver in front of millions of people. He could have said to reporters, "Yes, he was totally wrong. He shouldn't have came at me like that." Before he blames anyone else, he needs to look at how well he's doing. The media would have loved it. His fans would have backed him up. It would have been totally fair. But do you know what Shedeur Sanders did instead? He chose the right path. He displayed maturity and leadership that is much beyond his age and experience. Shedeur remarked, "When we got into certain passing situations and field position, everything like that, it wasn't the best." This was in response to a question regarding the offense's problems and his rapport with the receivers. It was a level of comfort. As players and teammates, we need to be able to get along with each other and feel at ease with each other in any situation. That will take time. This team isn't going to be like a microwave. It won't be a microwave thing. Take a time to let that advice sink in. That's a rookie quarterback who knows you can't just throw him into an offense in the middle of the season and expect him to get along with the receivers right away. He was on the bench for months and didn't get first-team reps because Kevin Stefanski was playing Joe Flacco and then Deshaun Watson ahead of him. He knows that quarterbacks and receivers need to work together a lot to get the timing and chemistry right. That's a grown-up way of looking at things that some veterans never learn. Then, Shedeur stated something even more telling that Browns coaches should pay extremely close attention to. He stated, "A lot of time out there passing-wise, we don't see everything through the same lens. Some of the guys aren't in the same place that we've seen in practice. If you look closely, you'll see what I mean." That's a polite and professional way to imply that receivers aren't running their routes right. That's a nice way of saying, my receivers aren't where I want them to be when I want them to be there. That's him admitting that the disconnect isn't necessarily because of how strong or accurate his arms are. It's important for everyone to be on the same page. And who do you think he's mostly talking about? Jeudy, the so-called veteran who makes $52 million and should know better? But even after all that, even after being publicly insulted and having real problems he could talk about, Shedeur still didn't put Jeudy or anyone else under the bus. When a reporter tried to get him to say something bad about Kevin Stefanski's aggressive fourth-down play calling, evidently looking for a comment that would cause a stir, Shedeur quickly and forcefully shut it down. He answered, "First of all, that's a rude thing to ask me if I believe my coach made a good call. I enjoy playing out there. We're not going to sit here and blame any coach or do anything like that. That's very rude." That answer is a great example of leadership. That's how a franchise quarterback should act. You don't make drama even when things are going wrong, like when your teammates don't respect you, or when you have every right to be mad and frustrated. You don't betray people. You stay professional. You look out for your coaches. You look out for your teammates even when they don't deserve it. You know that talking about your problems in public just makes things worse and hurts the team's chances of success in the future. And you know what? Jimmy Haslam is seeing all of this happen. He is observing Shedeur deal with very difficult situations with grace and maturity. He's seeing Shedeur accept responsibility for things that weren't entirely his fault. He sees Shedeur stand up for his coaches and teammates, even when they don't deserve it. And on the other hand, he's seeing Jeudy act like a brat. He's watching Jeudy publicly trash the QB. He is watching Jeudy make excuses for how badly he did. He is watching Jeudy fail to perform on the field while making tens of millions of dollars. The difference couldn't be clearer, and it will definitely affect how the owners see these two players in the future. People who know what goes on within Browns claim that Jimmy Haslam has already made it clear to Andrew Berry that things need to change, that Cleveland's culture ought to be about being responsible and professional, not blaming others and acting selfishly, that veterans should act like veterans and not like spoilt divas who can't handle hard times. The group can't put up with behavior that gets in the way of their young quarterback's growth. Some people who know the club are even saying that the Browns might really think about trading Jeudy in the offseason, and they might even look into options before the trade deadline if something else happens. If you're Jimmy Haslam and you're paying a receiver $52 million to drop passes, lead the league in drops, and openly trash your franchise quarterback, then you should be worried. Why do you want to keep him? What is he really worth? There are 5 games left for the Browns this season. 5 chances to get something good out of what has been a bad year. Kevin Stefanski has already said in public that Shedeur Sanders will start against the Tennessee Titans in Week 14. This is no longer a one-game audition. Shedeur is really getting a chance to prove what he can do as the starter. But that also means that Shedeur and Jeudy will have to figure out how to work together for the rest of the season. People are wondering if Jeudy can put his huge ego aside. Is he really a professional who can help his quarterback the way veterans should? Instead of bashing everyone else, can he work on getting better at what he does? Or is he going to keep blaming everyone else when things don't go his way? Jimmy Haslam will make a decision if Jeudy keeps acting like this, if there is another public incident, or if he keeps being more trouble than help. It won't be in Jeudy's favor. This is the same owner who stood up for Shedeur Sanders when no one else would. The same owner who stood up to criticism from the media and the public. The same owner who stated he was a genuine football player while people on TV were calling him a distraction and a social media quarterback who couldn't make it in the pros. The same owner who supported the contentious choice to choose him, even though it seemed like some people in the organization weren't sure about it.